Hello everyone and welcome to Inside Research Mind, a platform where we bring you real stories, real journey and real insight from people who have walked the path you aspire to take. I'm your host Basanta. Now let me ask you something. How many of you have thought about USMLE journey but felt overwhelmed by where to start, what it really takes or whether it's even possible? Because the truth is, the United States Medical License Examination is not just an exam. It's the journey of discipline, resilience, uncertainty, and sometimes it's a lot of sacrifice. And today we have someone who has not just gone through this journey, but successfully come out to the other side. In this episode, we are going beyond the surface. We will break down USMLE pathway step by step, covering preparation, strategy, cost, mistake, mindset, and realities that no one talks about. So, if you are someone who is even thinking about USMLE, this conversation might just give you the clarity you have been looking for. Let's get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's truly an honor to have you here. Give me your introduction, Mr. Hasif Bhai.
Thank you so much, Basanta. Hi, I'm Dr. Haseed Ali, and I'm a graduate of Services Institute of Medical Sciences in Lahore. Thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak to the medical community. And I hope that I can provide whatever help or support that you guys need or are looking for.
Thank you. To start things off from the very beginning, every journey has a starting point, and I believe that decision to pursue USMLE is never random. So, how did your journey toward USMLE begin?
So for me, it was not a sudden process or a sudden thing that happened in my life. It was a gradual journey. Um, I remember that my first roommate, the first time I moved into hostels, my first roommate, he was preparing for USMLE, and that's when I saw the first aid for the first time, and it just caught my eye, and I just talked to him about the USMLE pathway. I remember it was late at night, and I just asked him about everything, about the scores and almost everything, that how you get that residency. So it just kind of sparked my curiosity, and then afterwards I used to see first aid, people reading first aid in library, people reading first aid even in cafeterias. So uh, but the decision to start the USMLE was taken in third year. So in third year I was pretty much sure that I had to go to this journey, but I was just not ready to start it. But I started my journey in fourth year. So there was a number of reasons. The biggest reason was that in third year of MBBS, I thought that this is the time to achieve something higher, because I'm already here. I'm going to be a doctor, so why not just go above and beyond and try to achieve something better and something even more challenging. So I thought to myself that right now I have the resources, I have the time, I have the energy, and then if I don't do it today, maybe 20 years down the line, however successful I am, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be asking myself, Man, why did you not do it at that time? You had time, you had resources, you had energy. So yeah, I did it so that I won't have any fear of missing out or won't have any regrets down the line.
That's really interesting because I think many students struggle with that initial moment of clarity. So, at what stage of medical school did you realize that there was something you wanted to pursue seriously? So, was it first fourth year and your friend, or what?
It was third year. Yeah, it was third year, and I think that the whole environment in Sims was also very conductive at the time. I used to see a lot of people carrying around first aid, doing U word in library. So I think the environment really pushed me, and the decision was mine at the end. And it was third year of MBBS. Yeah, the first 2 years were just gone in a hurry.
That's that. That's very powerful, and I think many listeners will resonate with that uncertainty in the beginning. So now moving into preparation, which I think there is very many students feel overwhelmed. So how did you prepare for step one and step two? Can you summarize it?
So for step one, the strategy is pretty simple. There used to be a mnemonic that went around at the time I was preparing. It used to be called UFAPS, UFAPS. So there is UWorld, First Aid, Pathoma, and Sketchy. And I think that's these are the only resources that every student needs. So you do UWorld, you do First Aid. you do a bit of Pitoma, and you do a bit of Sketchy. So once you're done with that, I think you can take your exam. So UWorld, First Aid, Pitoma, and Sketchy. This is the formula.
Okay, among them, if you had to recommend just 2 to 3 essential resources, what would they be?
Two resources, UWorld and First Aid, for step one, and for step two, I forgot to mention about step two. So for step two, there is only just UWorld and Emboss. So for step one, UWorld and First Aid, and for step two, UWorld and Emboss. These are the only resources that you need. Essentially, there is uh, this is where your exam is coming from. So if you are done with your UWorld, and you have prepared your UWorld well, and if you have prepared your First Aid well, you are going to pass with flying colors, as they say.
That makes sense because one major issue students face nowadays is there is the resources overloaded. So how different would you say step one and step two in terms of difficulty and the preparation mindset?
Step one is more focused on foundational science, on the basic sciences. Step two is obviously more clinically focused, and I think step two is harder to prepare and harder to take the exam, because the step two exam is more long. It's more high stakes exam, because now there is a score, and now it's the only it's the most, you can say, valuable exam that you have, because with step one being pass fail, now the step two score is the most value that can add in your CV. So so step two is harder, and step two is more difficult to prepare.
So if you are comfortable sharing, and what were your scores and what do you think that contributed most to achieving that score?
So my step one was pass, and step two score was 257, and my step three score were 242. There is no golden resource that I used. I just did first aid. I just did first aid and Pathoma and Sketchy and UWorld in step one. And for step two, I used UWorld and Emboss. Emboss is a very underrated resource that people sometimes they just skip. I think that Emboss really made a difference. Emboss made a difference between 240 and 257 for me. So the extra 17 marks that I got, I think they were because of Emboss. So do Emboss. Emboss is really good.
Okay, that's honestly very impressive, and I think hearing real numbers helps student understand what's realistically achievable. So I think one area people often underestimate is the financial burden of this journey. We know that. And roughly speaking, what is the total financial cost of pursuing the USMLE pathway?
Yeah, that's a that's a tough question, and yeah, this is where and it's important to know that this is something that every student should know. So to, I estimated the cost to be around 15 to 20,000 dollars, and it really depends. I gave this range because it really depends how or and where you spend your money. For example, the largest chunk of money that you're going to spend is going to be your ERAS application when you submit to programs. So it really depends how many programs you apply to. If you apply to 200 programs, it's going to cost you more than 5,000, maybe even $6,000. And if you apply to 100 programs, it's going to cost you $3,000. So this is where all the difference can happen. So and also there is fixed amount. There is a fixed amount of money that you're going to spend. For example, one exam is going to cost you $1,000 roughly. So for three exams, it's going to be $3,000. For for the ECFMG certification, it's going to cost you another $1,000. So this is the fixed amount of money, and after that, if you do free observerships, that's gonna save you money. If you do electives, that's gonna cost you money. So 15 30 $20,000 is a good estimating, I believe.
Absolutely. So, what do you think? Which part tends to be the most expensive? Is it like applying program or doing electives?
Um, I think both of these can be really expensive, but doing electives is optional. But applying to programs, every student has to apply to programs. So I think applying to programs is going to be the most expensive part. And it all depends on how many programs you want to apply to. If you want to apply to just 50 programs, it's going to cost you less money. If you're going to apply to 200 programs, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And by the way, I might forget to mention this, but my advice is that do not apply to a lot of programs with signals, especially in internal medicine, with signals. The programs are just looking at the people who are signaling them. So do not apply to 200 or 250 programs. Save your money. This is a mistake that I made. So I'm not going to suggest anyone to apply to, say, more than 100 programs.
Oh, nice. So, do you think is there any mistakes that a student could do during financially?
Yeah, just like I mentioned, applying to more than enough programs. For example, applying to 200 programs is gonna be a waste of your money. If you apply to 100 programs and you choose your programs well and you choose your signals well, I think this is going to be more fruitful than applying to 200 or 250 programs blindly. And another point where you can save money is try to look for free observership. Try not to pay for observerships and try not to pay for electives. But for electives, you have to pay most of the time because electives are not usually free. But try to save money. Try to live in shared accommodation. Try to find accommodation under $1,000 a month. Apart from that, people are now using other resources other than UWorld. So yeah, I think everyone can understand what I'm talking about. So this is where you can save your money.
That's extremely valuable because many students underestimate that planning required. So now every major journey comes with setbacks and challenges. We know that. What are the hardest part of your USMLE journey?
Okay, hardest part was not receiving any interviews for after applying for residency for straight up two and a half months, 2 to 3 months. I did not receive any interviews, so that was the hardest part. And yeah, that was tough time. Yeah.
Okay, before matching apply, like there would be academic pressure, mental exhaustion, finances, or balancing life. So did you ever feel like giving up everything and sit whatever you like or do whatever you like? Do you have a feel like that?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. There was a time when I started doubting myself, and I thought, man, just leave it, man. Just leave and go to your country, go to your home, go to your parents, and just be the just be something else other than this. So yeah, and this point came when after applying, and when I received nothing, I was just emailing and I'm trying, but there was nothing. But so yeah, it happens. Yeah, yeah. I think it happens with everyone. I think this can happen to every person who tries for something, who tries to achieve something. But the thing that I learned is that you have to be persistent and you have to believe in yourself, and you just have to have hope.
Yeah, that's the one thing we need to do. We need to be persistent and hard work. Absolutely, hard work pays off. So I think hearing struggles is just as important as hearing success because people often only see the final achievements and appreciate only. So if you could restart everything today, what would you do differently?
I would start earlier. I took my step one in the start of final year. It was pretty early, but I think I should have started even earlier than that. Taking step three in third year, step one in third year, and step two in final year, and then applying the same year as graduating. I think this is something that I should have done. Should have done. Yeah. So applying early, and another thing was not applying to too many programs. Starting with research early. Yeah, this is something that I want to emphasize on. Start research early on. I think students are doing it right now, but if somebody's not doing, some people should do it.
Yeah, I'm also research mentor, and if you whoever audience watching this, you can check Handy Research, and I'm currently launching the cross sectional course. Thank you. I want to add that point on research things. So, what do you think? How important is research, electives, and CB in that journey? And if you have to rank as one, two, three, and what could it be?
Um, I don't think I'll be comfortable ranking any of this because so for USMLE application, this is one of the essential lessons that I've learned. When I was studying for USMLE, people used to tell me if you score 260 plus, your match is confirmed. Somebody would say if you publish 5 good manuscripts, your match is confirmed. Some people will say if you have a green card, your match is confirmed. Your match is never confirmed, no matter what you put in your CV. So all of these, they add value to your CV, but this is they none of these things can guarantee your match. So scores are obviously very important. Even today, scores are very important, but scores are not everything. Your CV and your experiences are very important. But they are not everything. Research is also important, but this is not something that's going to make or break your CV, especially for internal medicine or pediatrics and family medicine. Research is important when you're applying for neurosurgery or plastic surgery, dermatology, ophthalmology, general surgery. But for internal medicine, yeah, it's good to have research. Your research section should not be blank, but do not go too much into research. But it's important to have research. It's important to have good quality research. As for electives, the same thing. Electives are important. Electives are valuable. They give you good LOR. They give you good clinical experience. But if you are if you should only do it if you have time, and you should only do it if you can find some good quality electives, like something that gives you real clinical experience and gives you real professional networking. Because electives give you an opportunity to rotate with the residents and with inside a residency program. If you can get that kind of opportunity, of course, go for it. But if the electives is going to be in a place where you do not where you will not be able to find much opportunity for professional growth, I would say just skip it and focus on step two.
Okay, that's really insightful because many students focus only on exam scores and ignore the bigger picture sometimes. So I think it's time for advice and the motivation. Like if you had to mentor yourself or your yourself or any medical students listening right now, what are your top 3 to 5 piece of advices for someone pursuing USMLE journey?
Okay, so yeah, that's going to be tough. I think one of the advices that I would give my younger self and to everyone listening is that try to look at the bigger picture. Sometimes we tend to have the tunnel vision, and we try to look at things on a daily basis. Try to look at things on a monthly basis, and that's going to be important when you are preparing for exam. Because if you look at your exam scores on a daily basis, um, you think that tomorrow I had 67, today I had 64. I'm not making any progress. But if you look at yourself on a monthly basis and tend to see at the bigger picture, I think it's going to make a difference. Another thing that I would say is be persistent and be consistent and keep working hard. uh, Another thing is try to help people. You know, I think everyone out there should try to be as helpful as you can. Sometimes people just need your help. So try to help as much as you can. I received a lot of help in this journey, and I also recommend my juniors to be as much helpful as you can be.
That's more insightful. I think I'm motivated right now. And I think there are many people who feels like behind and overwhelmed or doubt themselves, and that piece of information you provided right now would really help them. So I think we have to go now for the rapid fire section. I have to ask you some short questions and you will answer in one words. Step one or step two, which one is harder?
Step two for sure.
Okay. And if you have to choose between U world or first aid, what would it be?
Your world.
So one habit that change your preparation. If you have one habit that change your preparation.
Consistency.
Nice. And biggest mistake students should avoid.
Biggest mistake students should avoid. Um, Trying to rush your exam and then take the risk of failing it. Do not rush your exam.
Perfect. Perfect. So every time I did these podcast things, and every time before we end, I would like to ask every guest that one final question. If you and I were to die today, what message would you want to leave for the world?
Be kind and try to help people. It's a cruel world, and if you are helpful and you are kind, it might make the other person's life worth living.
Truly beautiful and truly agree. And I also think that the same way. So thank you so much once again for joining us today and sharing your incredible journey, wisdom, and advice with everyone listening. I genuinely believe that the conversation will help the countless students who are navigating their own USMLE journey and searching their guidance. And to everyone listening right now, remember that every great achievements begin with one decision to start. This has been Inspired Research Minds, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you, Asif Bhai, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity, Basanta. You are doing great work, and thumbs up and a shout out to Handy Research. And good luck to you on your medical journey. Good luck to you on your with your exams, with your medical schools, and try to enjoy medical school, man. It's not gonna come back.
Thank you, Asif Bhai. I will keep that in my mind. Thank you. Thank you so
Great.
much.